So it was about 8 years ago. I've been married for about a year. We moved back to where I was born and raised. I went to working on a ranch. And I had a couple bosses on that ranch, but the guy I worked with the most, worked right alongside of, was Jake. And after I've been working there about a couple months, it was around December, we had a cold snap. And Jake's pipes in his house froze up underneath and broke. So we crawled under there and figured out what we needed, made a list, and then we both drove into town to get the parts we needed. And it seemed like it was right before Christmas, because the store we went to was pretty busy. There's people everywhere. And we went into the plumbing section of D&B and started trying to figure out what we needed, looking for pieces. And it wasn't long before there were 3 female employees there helping us out. And they were just laughing and giggling and making fools of themselves. I didn't know what was going on. And we got all checked out, and they were just cracking jokes, and I don't know what was wrong with them. But I got out to the pickup with Jake. Jake looked at me and said, "Boy, those women thought they sure were funny, huh?" And then it dawned on me what had happened, what was going on. Those women were falling all over themselves because Jake was there. So I went home that night and asked my wife, I said, "Is Jake good looking?" And she said, "There's nobody better looking than Jake." And then she got a dreamy expression on her face and started staring out the window, and I snapped my fingers in front of her, and she came to and said, "Besides you, of course." It's like, yeah. And if I hadn't had such a high opinion of myself, I would have had a hard time believing her. So Jake, he's pretty smart, good hand, good businessman, and he's good looking. And the reason I tell you all this is because what I'm about to say might sound kind of derogatory. And that is that Jake talks kind of slow. And it's not that it's slow or anything. He's smart and everything, but he's just, he thinks about what he's going to say before he says it. And I respect that. But anyway, it wasn't long after this incident. It was late in the day. We had a lot of cows to feed. We got them all fed except for one herd. And so we loaded up the hay on the wagon, and we pulled into the highway pasture where they were, and pulled into the gate, and there was a sick calf in that herd. It was really sick, and these cows, they'd calved in late summer, so this was probably a 500-600 pound calf. We brought the stuff to doctor it, just a couple syringes. We're going to do that after we fed the cows. So we kicked all the hay off and went over to doctor this calf, and it was standing in the corner where all the cows ball up when the wind's blowing. All the snow was packed and hard, just standing there looking sick, about ready to die. It was a sorry looking animal, to say the least. We had one more bale on the trailer that we were going to kick off to the bulls on our way by. So we pull up to that calf, and it was just standing there, so we just dropped the rope over its neck to make sure it wasn't going anywhere, and tied off to the front stake pocket of that trailer. And Jake grabbed the syringe and was going to go doctor it, and his phone rang. And he starts talking to someone. I think it was Elmer. And Elmer must have been telling a pretty funny story, because Jake was pacing back and forth, laughing and talking. Most of the time he's just leaning against the calf. But he got to pacing around and came to a standstill, and he was standing right in the middle of that slack rope. That calf was on about a 20-foot lead, dallied off to that trailer. Jake was just standing there, and I know what he was doing. You know, when you're on your feet all day, sometimes if you put the arch of your feet on something, it feels good, gives you some relief. So he was standing there with both feet on that rope. And I know everybody thinks they know what's going to happen. And all I can say is you're right. I just don't know how it happened. That calf looked like it was about to die. It's like someone switched it out with a Mexican fighting bull that wanted to get somewhere. Because all of a sudden that calf took off. It had enough. It was like a new animal. It hit that the end of that rope. And I'm up there on that trailer leaning against that bale, just watching all this. That calf hit the end of the rope, and that rope snapped tight, and I can still see the snow just popping off of it like a chalk line. And Jake, he just kind of went straight up in the air. His phone went flying. That calf ended that conversation. Poco pronto. Jake went straight up in the air. Came right down on his back. Knocked the wind out of him. Meanwhile, that calf was bucking at the end of that rope, churning a circle in the snow. And he went swinging around to the front of that tractor and got poked in the ribs by one of the bale spears. Kind of renewed his vigor, and he came bucking and snorting and a blood bellowing back around. And Jake was just sitting up, all dazed and confused, and he sees that rope coming at him about 2.5 feet off the ground. I'm up there on the trailer leaning against that bale, wondering, is Jake going to go over this rope or under it? Because it's about to clothesline him. Well, Jake didn't do neither one. He just kind of levitated and took off running for the trailer. And he didn't jump on the trailer. He just kind of strode right up onto it. He was moving so fast. But the trailer wasn't quite wide enough of a landing strip for him, and he skidded across it and went off the other side. And this had all happened so fast, I'm still leaning against the hay bale. Only had time to raise one eyebrow. But I remember thinking, leaning against that bale thinking, boy, Jake sure don't run like he talks.